Hey everybody, Mike here, and I'm gonna do something a little bit different now because I've wanted to talk about this for quite some time, and I know I'm probably beside myself on this one, but have any of you ever heard of a game called Without Memory? Yeah, I'm pretty aptly named, I know, but it was never released and has just sort of been in limbo for a long time now, so I want to take a moment to discuss its mysterious development cycle. Without Memory would be a PlayStation 4 exclusive game developed by a Russian team called Dinosaurum and is being created using the Unreal Engine 4. It was first announced June 2nd, 2014, and some of the earliest mentioning of it came from an article on Polygon on the same day. A trailer was released on December 9th, 2014, which depicts graphics and an art style similar to that of Life is Strange, and a girl is shown running through the forest. What's interesting is that David Cage is quoted in the trailer saying, "Your title is very promising." If you don't know, David Cage is a French video game director, developer, and the founder of Quantic Dream. He is best known for the games Indigo Prophecy, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human. So he was clearly shown enough of the project to have a solid opinion of it, but this obviously doesn't mean he has any sort of direct involvement. The trailer ends with a release window set for 2016, which obviously didn't happen. From there, the trailer was removed from YouTube and it just sort of faded into obscurity. Unfortunately, I was unable to find an English version of the trailer, but it is still currently available on Dailymotion and a few other video sharing sites. A handful of concept art was also shown, and it looks really fascinating, like this is a game that's shrouded in mystery with a compelling story. According to Metacritic, the game centers around a girl named Anna who wakes up in the middle of the forest without any memory. Throughout the story, she will make choices that shape the way the story is told, and the player will have to make various decisions that are very pivotal and will be forced to withstand the consequences of each action. Already, this sounds like a David Cage project, and Dinosaurum did state that Heavy Rain was one of their biggest influences while developing it. I also discovered from the Polygon article that the features of the controller will also find ways to come into play, with moments that feature the motion controls, as well as the touchpad to select dialogue options similar to Until Dawn. Unfortunately, I found that the reason for the removal of the trailer was due to a very unsuccessful Kickstarter. The trailer also received a heavy amount of negative backlash due to its quality, while the Kickstarter only had 13 supporters. Dinosaurum admitted that the trailer looked the way it did was because it was hastily made, and I can understand that if the studio didn't have enough money in the long run for the project, that they would have wanted to get the word out as soon as possible. The problem with that is that most people assumed that this was going to be the final product. The money that the patrons donated was also reimbursed following the page's removal. Dinosaurum later stated that they were going to make a compound demo with multiple revisions and new character models, as well as work with self-finances throughout. The website for Dinosaurum went through a few updates while only a few articles popped up on rare occasion to confirm that the game was still in development. At this point, it just seemed like vaporware, as there was never any consistent progress, and the game was never even mentioned at E3. On August 2016, Dinosaurum renames their studio to Dino Games, and breaks a long silence by updating their website to show that the game now has functional gameplay segments, but there were also a bunch of different story elements. There were now sci-fi elements that involved advanced technology and other dimensions that would have ways of changing the events of the story based on player choice. So, what the hell? Was Anna's quest just a side plot, or did the game's story change altogether? From what I understand, it seems like the game will either not feature Anna, or simply have her involved away from the main plot. The team also announced that they are in need of a publisher because the project will not be completed without one. Wait, if Sony wasn't the original publisher, then who was, and why did they withdraw? Since the game uses touchpad controls, it is unlikely that it will be released on any other console besides the PS4. On December 6, 2016, Dino Games released a gameplay trailer for the first time which features the new characters. What's odd is that there are a lot of similarities to the prologue of Detroit Become Human, as both protagonists start in an elevator, they arrive in a studio apartment, they have to defuse a hostile situation, although not to the same extreme, and there are already elements of a conspiracy-based plot right off the bat. With that said, I'm still very uncertain as to what the plot is about, and I'm not sure if these robot-looking guys are actual androids or if they're simply wearing masks. At first, I assumed that this could just be a placeholder until proper facial motion capture is implemented, although this now seems unlikely. What actually happens here is that the game takes place on September 5th, 2028, and we see one of our main characters named Leo Evans as he arrives in an elevator before the power goes out. Also, I'd like to point out that the prologue for Detroit took place on August 15th, 2038, so already there's another slight similarity. We also see that the touchpad can be used to listen to character thoughts, almost like Heavy Rain. After Leo fixes the elevator, he gets off at floor 165 and goes to meet his wife, Emily, who is being apprehended by the masked guards known as the Peacekeepers. Leo tries to confront them, but he is calmly informed that Emily is suspected of conspiring with a terrorist group simply known as the Insiders. Emily confirms that she is guilty of assisting the Insiders, leaving Leo in shock and disbelief. The guards inform Leo that Emily needs to undergo psychological treatment at the Anatorium in order to analyze her consciousness, but it is implied that this essentially means brainwashing her. The trailer ends as Leo refuses to let Emily go, resulting in a fight with the Peacekeepers. At this point, it is shown that QuickTime event combat will be controlled with the touchpad, as players will have to trace a shape over it to successfully fight back. Further plot details were discussed in an article by Game Pressure, which explained that by opposing the system, Leo finds himself wrapped up in a bigger conflict that spans across 3 parallel worlds. The choices that Leo makes in one will have major consequences in the others. It has never been fully explained how these will work, what happens in them, or how they are connected to one another, but from what little is shown, it seems like an interesting setup for the plot. There is also no mentioning of Anna, confirming that she has been removed from the plot completely. After this, information on the game's development was limited to say the least, but Dino Games continued to state that the project was still in development without any further updates on their progress or even an idea of a release window. In 2018, all progress on the game apparently stopped, and the website was updated with a statement saying that the reason for this was that the game still does not have a publisher. At this point, the project seemed to be cancelled, but now, one recent thing surfaced that made things even more confusing. On December 28th, 2018, Dino Games released another video on their YouTube channel that details the game's development process, including character designs, motion capture, cutscene animation, QuickTime event gameplay, and free roam within the environment. With that, it is very clear that the game is in fact still in development, but there is still no release window or update on potential publishers. I'm unsure as to why they would release this video when they knew the project would have to be put on hold, unless they are trying to work out a publishing deal. At this rate, I would not be surprised if this game gets cancelled or ends up as a PS5 game someday down the line. Unfortunately, that's all the information I have on Without Memory at this time. Have you heard of it before, and are you interested in it? Comment down below and let me know. And as always, subscribe to me if you want to see more. Take care.